Another second half drop-off for NC State. The worst part about NC State, they're 17-13. We've already been over it. They're to the point where the only way they're going to make the NCAA tournament is if they win the ACC tournament. They've been there. They're below 500 in conference, 9-10. They've been there. The worst part about NC State is that they actually make you believe and feel like they can win the games that they lose. That just enough goes right for them that it gets you bought in, like, oh, wow, maybe this is the game. Maybe this is the game they put it together. We've talked all year. They don't know their rotation. They don't know their roles. Again, it happened last night, by the way. Jaden Taylor's been one of their better scorers over the last 3, 4, 5 games. Played 14 minutes, had one shot attempt. DJ Burns has been minimized. He was out there as much as I can remember him being in any game.
For a long, long time.
31 minutes, an efficient 12 of 19 shooting, 27 points. That goes well enough that you feel like they should have been in the mix. They lost by double figures. They were close. They were close. They were there. They were in it. They were in the mix. Then they lost by double figures. That's what they've done all year. They show, hey, we probably should be good enough. We probably are talented enough to turn this into a game, and then they lose more often than they win in the ACC. They torture their fans, to be honest with you. So much so that some of their fans are starting to protect themselves a little bit. Right? It's like a rom-com. Well, I just stopped believing. I stopped giving a chance because I've been burned so many times. So, well, if I don't believe we can win when you're in the mix in the second half against Duke, then I can't be hurt when eventually you don't. Thus, not exactly the most electric atmosphere in PNC last night. Thus, not exactly the most engaged fan base in PNC last night. Fans are starting to protect themselves from the hurt. You can only take so many 5-point leads that become 15-point losses before you stop believing that a 5-point lead means anything.
The level of apathy was palpable last night.
The level of apathy was palpable.
And I'm not the only person in this building that was at that game last night. And they all said the exact same thing.
Honestly, the only time they really mentioned, or even the crowd really came across, was right at the beginning of the game. I'll give them that.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they were chanting for the walk-on senior at the end, you heard him a little bit. Alex Donnelly, who just got married, according to the broadcast crew, or just got engaged. Sorry,
engaged.
According to the broadcast crew.
Okay, congrats, young man.
Got put in right at the end, senior night, that kind of cool
Yeah.
deal. But the DJ Burns, let's look at the DJ Burns of it all. DJ Burns was the offense for NC State, 27 points on 19 shots, 12 of 19. Honestly, even I get a little bit of an adrenaline rush when he's down on the post and somebody tries to play high side and he goes baseline spin, the dancing bear, the twinkle toes footwork on a massive human. Even I get excited by that. Here's Burns on his advantage, and that obviously being his size. We got to come in.
That's their play style. They go with the, skinny guys who don't really like to get physical as much. So, that's kind of where I come in as a strength there.
And it felt like that, didn't it? It felt like DJ Burns was taking advantage of the skinny guys on Duke. I think State and Burns were playing right into what Duke wanted them to do. I think Jon Scheyer looked at the roster and said, all right, we can stop one DJ. Which DJ should we pick? Should we stop Horn or Burns? And they said, well, one of them takes shots worth 3, and one of them takes shots worth 2. Let's stop the one who's worth 3. They locked up DJ Horn, spent most of their defensive resources to make sure DJ Horn didn't get going, and DJ Burns was able to pick and choose his way down low. But while that was happening, McCain was knocking down threes. While that was happening, Roach was knocking down threes. While that was happening, Stewart and Filipowski were matching down low. While that was happening, right, it felt like DJ Burns was making all these highlight plays. Duke was pulling away. Duke picked the DJ to let loose, and it was Burns over Horn. And you can go back to our show yesterday right here on this network, right here, 99.9 The Fan, I was talking about they needed to get DJ Horne going at all costs. He was the one that had to play well. He was the one that had to catch fire for State to have a chance. And Duke obviously did similar scouting and said, we just don't want DJ Horne to get going because so much of their offense is built off of that. DJ Burns got going, and they seem to be okay with it. It says something when DJ Burns kept making plays. And I'm not saying it's unimpressive. Like I said, it was. But they didn't make any adjustments, right? They weren't suddenly putting different players in the game. They weren't suddenly sending more double teams. They were just comfortable to let him cook. Do you know why? Because offensive rebounding and three-point shooting was the game for Duke. And they knew with DJ Burns on the floor, even getting his game going offensively, he was part of the reason why they were having success shooting the three, and meaning Duke was having success shooting the three, and he was part of the reason why Duke was having success offensive rebounding. At one point in time, Duke had 12 offensive boards, NC State had 11 boards.
Mm-hmm.
And you do whatever it takes to make sure that ratio continues.
I think first half it was like 14 offensive rebounds for Duke and 16 overall for State. They crushed them on the offensive boards in the game.
And you will encourage that type of play. State played right into what Duke's scouting report said, which was let them cook down low, they'll get all excited, we'll win by 14. And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. That's what Filipowski not even scoring a bucket in the first half.
Filipowski, exactly.
It's 0 points, 0 rebounds in the first half. Granted, he got into early foul trouble, so it was
he didn't play
Stewart
much,
and TJ Power and some of those other guys. Ryan Young
played some good minutes.
Yeah.
See, Sean Stewart played some really good minutes.
Great minutes last night.
He's played his way into the rotation for Duke. Caleb Foster comes back or not, and we don't know an update on his leg injury. Sean Stewart, I mean, the best, springiest, most explosive athlete on the team has to have a role. There were times, actually, the few times DJ Burns didn't score down low, it felt like Sean Stewart just said, you know what? I'm just going to wait till you shoot it and then jump 2 feet higher than you can possibly jump, and I'm going to block the shot.
He had a couple of those moments. There's one other time, I think it was in the second half, where DJ Burns likes to lower the shoulder and use his body into his defender. Did that twice, and then Sean Stewart basically just pulled the chair out from underneath him, just step aside, and calls Burns to he tripped over his own feet, turnover, back down the other way. I think they hit a 3-pointer right after that.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Like a savvy move by a freshman.
Might have been a survival move.
There's also that too.
You only get the wind knocked out of you so many times from a shoulder from DJ Burns before you're like, I wonder what happens if I don't let him hit me in the chest. Break a rib and or get out of the way. Oh, look at that. It worked. That's might have been a survival instinct that paid off. The fact of the matter is this. NC State has so many reasons to think they're good enough to win that game. And there's so many reasons why they've lost that game repeatedly this year. Whether it was Duke, whether it was UNC, they had a lead at half against UNC also, whether it's some other team who's not as accomplished as those two. They've been in just about all their games. They've lost more than they've won in the ACC. That right there should drive, to quote, I believe it's early Kanye West, that right there could drive a sane man bizarre, because it had to rhyme. But that right there could drive a sane man bizarre. If you are a fan of NC State, they have been torturing you this season with flashes that show they are better than they've been playing, flashes of they are better than their record, and then so often they end just like they did last night.